that is really needed. From the group that I help co-facilitate down at Affirmations, we work with the children of lesbian and, well, same-sex relationships, because it's not all lesbians. And a book series like that would be really helpful.
And I think, oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say that one of my sons, I'm really trying to coax him. He has this portion of me. Everything else is not as his father, but he has a very wise personality, and he is very perceptive to a lot of things. And I really want him to write something for me. And it could be just an ebook, something, you know, that doesn't have like more than 200 pages, but I'm really trying to get with him to do something like that too.
Now, with your publishing company, getting, you know, might trying to pull away from the book too much, but with the publishing company, are you looking for other authors as well?
I am, but what I want to do is to make sure that what I am doing, I have my process and my business plans down. Basically, if you ever go onto my website, it's called scriblicalvibes.com. And the only thing that I really am trying to publish is books that leave people thinking. I want to really just tap into people's mind, and a lot of things that we do on a regular basis is just common sense that we should be doing, but we just don't. You know, I've had people to tell me, oh, you're so wise, and it's like, not really.
Right.
Not really. It's just common sense, and it's just like we just, for whatever reasons, we're in love with somebody, or, you know, we want to do this, and we should be doing that, and we just don't. So, yeah.
There are a lot of people out there that has a lot of questions about this lifestyle. I came out at a late age. It was only the prompting of God, ironically. And one of the things I have found myself in time and time again, and just recently, a couple of weeks ago, I was just really drilled in what it's like to be a lesbian. What made me go over to that side? Did I know? I mean, just question after question. So there's people out there that really would like to know, and they're interested. And one of my arguments to people is just like, well, God said you're supposed to marry and have kids. Well, I did that.
Right.
I helped populate the work.
Right.
So now it's my turn. And so people have, I mean, they really go into detail, even sexually. They say, well, do you use toys? I'm like, well, that is just TMI for you. I mean, how do you think I want to just go and tell you all those details? And I lied. I won't use those. Because I don't think you need to know that. But people want to know what it's like. Well, what's the difference? I even had friends say, well, what was wrong with me? How come you couldn't have chose me? I've got the same thing. You know, I've had quite a few friends that approach me like, well, how come you don't want me?
What's wrong with me?
Well, why'd you choose her over me? So people want to know these questions, especially me, because I dated a lot, whole lot. And so they was just wondering, how did you cross over? And I said, well, I kept trying to, you know, get it right. But, you know, just, you know, I just kept thinking I'd run into some guy that just give me foreplay. I wouldn't bother with the other part. And I knew when I was 7 years old, you know, that I prefer women. And when my husband would bring home tapes and had women in it, that was his best sex that he got. And so they want to know these questions. So this is a good tool and to put out there for people to read and to really get in, because I knew it was your story. And Terry said, well, how do you know? I said, this is fiction and nonfiction in this book right here. I can read it, I can see, because the way that you're writing. And so, yeah, I think it's something that really needs to get out there in the mainstream, and people need to read this, because ignorance only bring about intelligence. And they won't make the same mistake and make the same stupid comments.
One thing I originally, when I got the concept for the book cover, I didn't want to put a face on the book cover because I didn't want anybody to get distracted. We are so easily distracted by everything. And if there was a black face on here, white people wouldn't want to read it. If it was a white face on here, some black people wouldn't want to read it. If it was Asian or whatever the case may be. I did not want that to have a face on here. When I gave it to my graphic designer, because I think that everything for me, and I try to be a spiritual person, so I feel like it was God who gave me the cover for this book, because I just sat there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm writing this book. What am I going to put for the cover? I was nowhere near like finished. I might have been like halfway through with the book, and it just came to me. A piece of paper, because she's always writing. A piece of paper, and just have in big bold letters 30-day notice in red. When I gave it to my graphic designer, of course it was too plain for him, so he had to put a face in there. And I kept telling him at first, he gave me a couple different,
I didn't notice that.
I didn't either.
you never noticed?
No.
it?
Didn't notice it.
No.
Well, you know what?
But you know what, that's a good thing
All black
because-
and white.
But you know, that's a good thing because, like you said, the face will take away. I mean, a lot of people,
Subliminal.
no matter what, when people look at a book, they're always going to look at the cover first.
Mhm.
If the cover doesn't intrigue them right away,
You
they're
are
going to
right.
walk away. They'll look at the cover and they'll be like, Then they always do what? Turn it back.
Right.
You know, because they want to read the synopsis of it. If that intrigues them, then the next thing they do, they open up the front and they read that other part. Then if that intrigues them, then they open up right in the middle of the page and see what little points is in there. So if you had put a face on there, like you said, it would be, you know,
There
'cause
is a face on there.
there is, but
I
she's-
never noticed.
No.
That's amazing.
But you know what?
But
At
that
the
was
same
really
time,
amazing.
I do that with my walk in being a lesbian. I don't tell people most often that I'm a lesbian. I let them get to know me first. So you don't make that judgment based on whatever story that you plan in your head about what a lesbian is. I don't tell you until later on. It's like, oh, I'm a lesbian. Then that throws you way out the water and you're thinking, and you got to come back here and rethink your thinking, realign it. And so I see that.
That was
Right.
a good idea.
That
Because
really was.
I think I maybe like, okay. And then I got right into the book, like the front, you know, you see the name, but
You
there's
don't see
nothing
that
there for me to
face.
kind of go into and be like, oh, and ooh, and you know, spend the day just looking at the cover.
So my question is this. My question is this. At what point did you actually come up with the title?
Oh, I had the title before I actually had the book.
Really?
hmm I just had.
So did she actually
That-
need 30-day notice, Layla?
This was not my story. Per
She said
se.
She said, Layla. Yeah, Corey.
Then Corey. I thought it was Corey Kai.
No, since I'm a first-time writer, it was easy for me to use my own initials. So
Right.
so I wouldn't say, okay, what did I say again? I was gonna go. Oh, okay. So yeah, I use my own initials for that reason. But what were you asking me?
How you came up with the title?
It was about-
Oh,
How you
okay,
came up
the
with the
title.
title?
The title, I got the title before I even started writing the book. And that was basically because I sat and I kind of thought, when I wanted to write the book, what would I sit down, what would I call the book? What message did I want to put out? What had been happening, honestly, what had been happening in my lives? What happened in the lives of other people's? We get notices all the time and we just let them go over our head. So I came up with the title, 30-Day Notice. Okay, she's going to leave her, she's going to give her 30 days, 30-day notice. Like I've already gotten the title for the second book and the third book.
Can you share that with us?
The title for the second book is going to be Abandoned Property.
Okay.
The third one I'm not ready to tell yet. You mentioned a little bit earlier about my writing process and pretty much how I write on everything.
Yeah,
I do.
I have read a interview that you did. That's
I write on everything. I've been writing on everything since I could write. Any thought that comes to my head, I have to get it out of my head, so I have to write it down. I try and always carry like a journal or something with me, but there are times, even if I'm in a meeting, has nothing to do with writing, things will come to my head and I have to write them down. If I've got stickies next to me, I'll use stickies. I'll do whatever. I use my phone. I use my phone a lot for the simple fact of I get a lot of ideas about things in the middle of the night. Oh my God. This morning, I was up at 3 o'clock this morning and I had to get up and write. One thing about something that you love to do, you love to do it, no matter what time it is of the day. And I always think that God gives you certain things and He gives them to me for some reason in the middle of the night, but I will get up and I will write.
You know, I think that, you know, a lot of people, I've heard people always say, when it comes to the two main things, writing and music, a lot of people always say they get it at night. because that's when your mind is most relaxed. And 9 times out of 10, that's when God is talking to you the most, and you don't realize it because it's in your subconscious. You know, Dorian used to always tell me, like I said, God, I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, and I don't know why, and she said, God's trying to talk to you. That's what he wants to do. So, you know, no matter what it is, whether it's music or whether it's writing, because it seems like that's where a lot of people get their ideas from, or get a concept or something, that is always at night. So yeah, I believe that, you know, so